Hello there. Okay, so this is new to me. StreamYard. I am going to invite Anne Kathryn Rice to have a conversation with me about how we can lean into child-led learning and choose curriculum or resources that serves us, serves our kids, and serves our pocketbook. If you have questions or you have a story that you'd like to share about how you choose curriculum or how you lean into child-led learning, please put it in the comment section below, and I'm glad to interact with the conversation. You're also welcome to join us in the Patreon Homeschool Mama support group and have conversations with us. Anne is one of our members. Okay. Oh, I don't want to do that. You need to see all of this homeschool curriculum. Well, hello there. Hello and welcome from my homeschool room. I'm hoping that I will connect with Anne Kathryn Rice soon. This is new technology for me. Joining live on Facebook through StreamYard. And today we're going to be talking about how to lean in to child-led learning and how to choose curriculum that works for you, works for your kids, and works for your pocketbook. Also, do you want to buy anything? Just kidding. I'm going to have a garage sale, homeschool garage sale soon. If I could actually sell everything, could I take a trip to Italy? Yes. Hi, Anne. Nice to see you. I can see you. I think you just need to do the audio and video. Let me see here. Aha!
There we go.
I apologize. That was on my end, not yours.
Whoops.
Hey. So nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Yeah. How's it going today? You're at the end of your day?
Yeah, I'm good.
Good.
It's getting towards dinner, and I'm here with Maria Elena.
Hi. Hello. How are you? I'm in Canada. You guys are way far away.
Yeah, across the pond.
Across the pond, yes. So it's so good to have you here because here's the thing. What you had said last week about how you choose curriculum and how you kind of moved or transitioned into, I don't know what you want to call it. Let's call it child-led learning or unschooling or self-directed, whatever. Oh, that's such a beautiful picture, first of all. That really is. But also, it really spoke to me. Like, it was my journey, but my journey that took a lot longer than yours to figure that out. So for everybody that hasn't met you already, would you introduce yourself, how you got into homeschooling?
Sure. Yeah, it's a different journey for everyone. I think everyone
Yeah,
learns different things at different rates. There's so much to learn.
yeah.
So I'm Anne Kathryn. I came to Italy to teach at an international school, actually, after getting a degree in education and a master's degree in language and literacy. So reading is my passion. I love books, and I love teaching people to read, and I love to see the light bulbs go off when they realize, oh, I've got this new tool that I can use to learn about stuff that I like.
Very nice.
And after many years of teaching, usually first grade, I decided that I wanted to have some more quality time with my kids, my
Yeah.
3 kids. And so we made the big jump. It was not easy. It was
Yeah.
because a lot of my identity was wrapped up in
Yes.
I'm a
Yeah.
teacher. That's just
Yeah.
who I am. And so
Yeah.
now I'm a doula and a mom, and I can't really sum up my identity in one word. So it's a little bit new territory for me.
So that was the tricky thing, was transitioning from essentially an educator role into a very different role, and letting that go was the really tricky thing.
Yeah, and it's not even like a role. It's something else,
Right.
It's like coexisting with other people in a different way.
Oh yeah, girl. Yeah. That's why I do the self-compassion intensive or coaching, because I found that was the most challenging part of homeschooling. I honestly thought it was going to be, how to teach my child to read, or mathematics. I wasn't strong in math. I thought it was having to address every human with the S question, like how are you going to socialize your kids? I thought it was going to be dealing with those questions or concerns, but actually it was the big emotions, my own big emotions, and learning how to be with everyone all the time, not feel overwhelmed, not feel stressed, all of that. That was my biggest thing. So yeah, I feel you. So today did you want to say something?
I think it would be mine too.
Yeah.
Just the feeling, making sure I have time for me too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which is really, really tricky to do. It is.
It
Yeah.
basically you have to just put yourself as a priority, which
Yeah.
seems like such a simple thing. Like, just put yourself in
Mhm.
the list of things to do.
Sure. You're at the
But we
bottom of the
don't.
list, just so you know.
I'm
Yeah.
always at the end of the list.
Yes. Always at the end. And like, it's not just, I don't know what it is. Like, I think partly it's a healthy thing, that our mama hearts just want to nurture our kids, and we like instinctively, intuitively know that they're not going to be here forever, and that they need us. And that was all true. And also seeing ourselves as a separate human being outside of our mother role, that we actually are not mini gods or demigods. We are humans that also have needs, and all the needs that our kids have, we got them too. Yeah.
Yes. Right now, exercise is on my
Yeah.
mind. I'm always thinking about, did the kids get enough sunshine?
Yeah.
My son is invited to a soccer event. Of course, he should go. It's movement. It's fun.
Yeah.
Did my daughter have fun today? And I should ask the same things of myself.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know what? It's interesting because you can hear your kids in the background. And I remember when my little ones were like babies, and if they cried, that was the loudest noise in the world.
Yeah. Oh,
And
well,
it was
we're
so,
biologically programmed to be sensitive to that.
yes. And we're so responsive to it. It feels like the loudest thing in the room. Now, as I was going to say a non-parent. I'm not a non-parent. I am not a parent of little kids anymore. And when I don't have little kids and I'm watching other mothers with little kids, I feel for them. I hear that little cry, and it's the sweetest, smallest cry in the room. It's so sweet. It makes me want to hold the baby, but I know mom wants to hold the baby and make everything okay. And so she's instinctively drawn, but the energy that she's almost like an energy draw to that child. It's kind of a drain to your soul at the same time, and not in a derogatory way, because I think it was meant to be that way, but it's a constant energy interchange. And we need to honor or acknowledge the fact that we can't actually always be on and available to engage energetically. Yeah.
Very good point. We can't
But
always
we
be
do.
on. We try to stay on as long as humanly possible.
Yeah.
I'll speak for myself until breaking point.
Yes. Amen.
And then you realize, oh, right, I have to take care of myself. How do I even do that?
Yeah.
Who's homeschooling me?
Yeah. It's a lot. It is a lot. And I think that's the one reason why it made a lot of sense to me why people had their kids in school. And it was that because they were away from them, even though they had different demands, and it wasn't like everything was simple when they weren't there. But they have different demands, but they don't have their kids on them all the time. And they're not constantly having that energy interaction. So that when at the end of the day they see their kids again, they're like, oh, hi.
Yeah.
And you don't necessarily get that. Yes. Yeah. So
I always have thought it would be nice if there were sort of a selection of kind of educational institutions or I mean, I know that there are, but they tend to be like on both sides of the spectrum, either very intense or, come if you want. But if there was like 3 times a week from 9 to 1, or like, just enough for me to miss my kids, for them to go and do an activity that is fun for them, and then I get to see them and say, wow, it's been, I want to hear your stories now, that something you did without me. But I don't want it to be every day for 8 hours. That's too much.
Yes. I actually had somebody in the last year say to me, I really want to be with my kids. I want them to learn at home, but I don't want to homeschool. And she wasn't just being cute. She really meant that. And I'm like, let's think about how could we do this? There are ways.
Yeah, there are ways.
Money.
And we're sort of piecing together our own little like activities that they go away and they do.
Yes.
You have to kind of know your community.
Yeah.
You have to ask around. You might have to organize something yourself, like find an art teacher, set it up, get a group, go on Fridays, something like that.
This last week, I saw your son in a really cool activity. You said a journalist club?
Yeah, there's this, you might think of it, people around Genoa might think of it as like an after school activity. For us, it is like the activity of the day, where he goes and is they call it a little newscaster.
I love it.
Yeah, sometimes he does like where he's in the studio saying like, this is the program. And sometimes he goes out and he does interviews and he like talks to people. Yeah. This activity is like my connection to the city. Like if there's something interesting going on that I haven't heard about, then I find out from this. Yeah.
So that really serves your son. Like what you've shared about your son, that activity sounds spot on for him. Yeah. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah. He loves the spotlight.
Yeah.
So, and he likes interacting with people. Once they were, it was the International Day of Pi, like 3.14.
March 14th. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. March 14th. Yeah. And so I explained to him what it was. And I tried to incorporate it into our studies, the week before. And he goes into the studio and the teacher or the organizer said, okay, so do you know what pi is? And he was like, no. So, I mean, I try. I try.
Oh, I have been there so many times. I can't even think on the top of my head. I've had so many people ask my kids things, pop quiz, and then they're like, "Oh, we're homeschooled." And I'm like, "Oh dear, this is not good. It did not look good." But you know what? It's learning to not care what other people think. That's at core,
Yeah.
I think. And every person, even me, I'm full live and I've been studying or researching the person I'm engaging and all the questions that I want to ask. And then I completely forget some word or I forget their name or something. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, our kids will do it for sure. And yet it's interesting that you say that because that's a reflection, or it feels like it's a reflection of our educational approach. And that is actually
Yeah.
why I still, to this day, every once in a while, one of my older kids that are completely graduated from high school are in college right now will say something and they don't know something. And I'm like, oh dear, I forgot something. I should tell them. But it turns out kids that are graduating traditional schools are also not replete with
Yeah.
knowledge. And they don't know every single thing known to mankind either.
Yeah. Nobody
Yeah.
does. And it's also interesting it was interesting for me to sit back and kind of observe what he had learned from our conversations about pi, and what he
Yeah.
had, or what translates over into real life. And it really is a like proof that if you don't really experience something and you're in real life and that you're really engaged in, it might not stick.
Yes.
So it
Yes,
was
I did
interesting.
not get that. I did not understand that with early math learning. It was never my strong suit, so I was really relearning a lot of things alongside my kids. And I would go through, say, a unit of something, and then a few units later, we'd need that content to build on the next unit. And I would be surprised that they completely they had no awareness of what the thing was that we were speaking to. And I could, in the beginning, I just thought, well, you're just not paying attention. You should be paying attention. Or how do I get them to pay attention? What would be interesting? And over the course of time, I've come to understand that they just don't lock things in unless it matters to them.
Yeah.
And exposure is useful. I do think there's something to be said about exposure. The concept about teaching grammar or sentence diagramming or learning all the different parts of the sentence. I don't know why we do that, because I, as a writer, and many writers, like full-time writers in the adult world, don't look at their grammar. I mean, they have Grammarly. Okay, first of all, we have Grammarly. Yes, grammar helps us to learn to communicate with others more clearly, but also we don't care about what's a noun, a verb, a preposition, an article, all the things. We're like, let's just communicate the concept. And so it never mattered to me, even though this is something I do every single day. So yeah, when it matters to us, we're on it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you know what I really loved with your comment last week? Well, what I should say, not just love, but resonated with me is the way that you framed that comment, how you were looking to what the government says, these are the outcomes of an education at this grade. So this is what you say, okay, well, let's go go that direction. We're going to focus on those things. And then you're like, okay, well, what I've learned about how to engage a concept, you took chocolate, for example, and you said, here are the different ways you could learn about chocolate. And I'll let you share all the different ways, but they kind of touched on all the school subjects. And then you realized, wait, we could be doing this with any topic. And then as you did that enough, you realize, wait, this is just life. Learning is just life. And there's always one more thing we could explore or learn about. I love that.
Yeah, the international primary curriculum has these really cool topics, and I don't know how they chose them.
Mhm.
Who knows? Though maybe it was the people on the committee that day that were interested in those things. But any topic you can weave in every single subject.
Yeah.
That's just life. So I started thinking, what if I chose my own topic? What if the whole class, we kind of chose our own unit, and we or what if I wait a minute, even better, if I just had my own kids, we could really tailor it to we don't have to tailor it to a classroom of kids. We could tailor it to even fewer, or we
Yes.
can tailor it to each one, and they could pursue their interests and do their topic study however they pleased.
And then they're really engaged in it and they're way more likely to learn something.
They're invested, yeah. And
Yes.
there's no need for me to even um like assess, let's see how much you've learned of this,
Because you
because
already know.
they've learned how much they're ready to learn in that moment. They go as far as they
Yeah.
can. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you've been homeschooling, is it 2 years, 3 years?
No, this we had the very first year, but I've been dreaming about it
Wow.
all.
And wow, wow, wow. That was
Can I
not me
tell
at
you,
the end
like,
of my first year.
literally in all of my graduate school studies, every professional development I've ever done as a teacher, it's all about how to make learning more real and more relevant and more
Mm,
real life for the kids. How can we make this experience for them as authentic as possible? And
beautiful.
every time we would do these workshops, I would be like, can we just like go out and do the real life?
Not
And
just workshop.
yeah, it was just I thought
Yeah.
we're working so hard to be able to make the learning authentic, but we have these four walls that are
Yes.
keeping, that are like,
Yeah.
you can only go so far. And I thought, yeah, I just want to break down the walls and just like go actually do the real thing.
I love that. I mean, at the end of your first year, but clearly that's the thing, is that your education informed that because it gave you that construct to say, wait, this is what they were talking about, the real learning. The I don't know how you would say this, but I have my own educational experience and also working alongside the educational system as an advocate for home education in our province. So I was actually having conversations with the people that are helping to create the the education programs in our province. And when I went on my spiel and I got so excited, I'm like, I get to have an opportunity to share what I think. This is what an education is, anyways. And I went on my thing. And then four of them stopped me after and said, yeah, we agree. We're with you. This is how we think too. And I'm like, but why aren't you doing it? Like, why isn't it happening? And I mean, in a nutshell, I think it's bureaucracy, period. It's nothing more than, I mean, this is clearly, I'm making a political statement, but I just think it's more about us trying to find our meaning by finding our place in the bureaucracy of the world and not feeling comfortable stepping outside the box to just be who we really are and help our kids be who they really are. That would be what I see from my vantage point.
Yeah, and there's also kind of the way society is structured now. I mean, we don't have the village anymore. We
Right.
we have jobs that we can't bring our kids to. So where can we leave our kids for most of the day where they're going to be happy and healthy and learn something? And school is kind of, it's just, that's what it is, and it has some limitations, but
Right. The
it's
four
kind of
walls.
like
Yeah.
just, that's the best like we can do in society right now. I guess we could just
Yes.
the best we can inside the four walls.
Yes, because I know that it serves, by the way. I am aware that it serves a lot of people and it's a requirement. So I would never try to take on the education system. That certainly wasn't why I was there. But for me, I look at it and I go, okay, wait, if we know that we're not in that system and we brought our children home, then we really don't need to emulate the qualities or the character traits of those four walls or the institution that
Yeah.
is. We can do something that's outside the box, because not because it's outside the box, because within our box, our four walls, are our children and our lives and ourselves as well. And then ask ourselves, who are we? And who are my children? And who are they needing to grow up to become? And we don't know the playbook, but we do know today. And if our child really loves X, that might be our sign that we need to find a way to incorporate either that interest or that way of learning or that need for quiet or whatever it is. Take that as a hint and then go, okay, this is where they're at today in their story. How can I help them do whatever they need to do today so they can become who they were meant to be when they are no longer in my home. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's why your work in supporting us is so important, because there's so many of us out there just kind of trying this new thing that we don't have the roadmap for. We can't remember what our parents did with us because they didn't do this. We were at
Nope.
school. And so we don't really have a model. So we need someone to hold our hands through it. I think that's another reason why a lot of people don't do it too, because just it's too much of a learning curve. It's too different than what my family, like how I grew up. I couldn't even imagine to take that on because of the like energy it would require of me.
Yes, exactly.
Thank goodness there
That's
are
so
people like
good.
you to like what I said earlier about who's homeschooling me. Well, people like you just
That's an interesting way to frame that. Yeah, that's interesting because it feels like I was just you, but it was actually almost 2 decades ago when I was just you. Oh, like it's so weird. When did I get old?
how
I'm on the verge of even not coloring my hair. Like, what is going on? It'll be colored next week, just so you know. I'll look 20 years younger. But I remember being you, it feels like just yesterday, except somehow there's more books on my floor right now than there is behind me. And somehow over the course of time, I've accrued a lot of resources. I've accrued a lot of curriculum and an awful lot of experience. And so I love walking alongside other women primarily, but to help them really just lean into who they are authentically so they can be not just fully them, but be confident being fully them. And when you were speaking to I couldn't have done this if I didn't have somebody to walk alongside with. Maybe you didn't quite say it that way, but you couldn't necessarily have done this a decade ago. That's true because you didn't have kids then, right? But also, you there's something about it's not just deciding to do something that you think serves your kid. It is actually an internal growth trajectory for yourself where you decide to do something so out of the box when everyone is asking you, why are you doing this? Or when days are really hard and they're looking at you going, don't you just put them back into school? Like, why invest that kind of effort? Or they ask you all the questions about your homeschool choices. It means that you have to figure out how to become more you and become firm in who I am and who other people aren't and be okay with that, which is a huge growth trajectory, I think, for a homeschool parent.
Yeah, there is a huge learning curve. And I don't know if I would be where I am now if I hadn't seen just how school is on a day-to-day basis and been so exhausted from that. So,
Yeah.
I mean, people say, isn't that exhausting being with your kids all day? And I think, well, before I was with 20 all day. And then
Yeah.
no,
Touche.
it's hard way.
And you don't necessarily have the same sympathy or empathy for certain kids. Your own child, when you have a specific child that you're like, that behavior is so irritating to other people. And you're like, yeah, I know, but you see the positive things in them. But meanwhile, you're with 20 some kids that you don't have the same empathy for these kids. So yeah. So this is the easier version of homeschooling.
I get it. I mean, it's not easy, but it is.
Yeah.
It's
So
something.
tell me how you choose your curriculum or resources or decide on what extracurriculars you choose, since that was the title of our conversation.
Well, technically, I'm supposed to look at kind of a program that an Italian school in my neighborhood has, and and follow along. And then they are tested on this at the end of the year by an Italian teacher, and that is those are the Italian rules. They have to take this exam at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So I try to stick with that, and it doesn't take that long because when you think about school, you've got kids lining up, you got to get their take out your books. We have to move on to this. We've got someone's bothering someone else. So let's talk about that and let's share feelings. And so you take out all that. You can teach, how to calculate the area of a square in like a minute, literally.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that doesn't take that long. And then I think in my mind, I have categories like nature, movement, fun, and try to like hit all of those. And
those are amazing. Those are far more effective subject areas than science and social studies. And it really is. That's amazing.
But it's really, if you let kids go wild with fun, I mean, there's gonna be science. There's gonna be,
exactly.
Maybe I kind of struggle with history. I'm not a history buff, so I use YouTube a lot for that.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And museums.
Yep.
I'm getting my hair done while we're talking about them.
Yes, I've had those days too. And I would even pay kids 25 cents to give me an hour-long massage. Was well worth my quarter.
So anyway, it's if I kind of just make sure that they're always busy, keep the screens away as I can.
I'm with you. I am with you. Yeah.
But if
you want them to do other stuff outside screens, because screens have their place and they're fun. And also there's other things in life. Yeah.
Yeah. When we're using them for a purpose, they're so fun. When I am exhausted, I'm just like, fine, just go do whatever you want. Then I feel like time gets away from us, and we don't do all of the fun things that could be had. But they like to mix baking soda with stuff, and when we're outside, I mean, going outside, that's like there's biology, there's questions. If you really notice, you're gonna hit all the subjects. Like if you just like noted certain questions or movements or digging up something, you're gonna hit all of the subjects pretty quickly.
Yes. That's actually one of the first things that I do in my D-school coaching, is to do an assessment, like 1 week to clarity, writing everything down, everything that you're doing. And it's a lot, but also it helps you to see that, wait, we're doing all the things, all the subject areas. It's also why at the end of a school year or homeschool year, I will create a portfolio for each of the kids, and no one's requiring me to, but I'll write down all the different things that would fit in different subject areas, or reading, or like you said, nature or play or travel or whatever. And then it helps me to see, oh, wow, they have done so many things. Because if I didn't do that, then I might get into a little fussing thing that says, oh, we're not doing anything. They're just enjoying life. Like that's a bad thing. But or we're just having fun. It's so funny, the cultural messages that somehow, learning has to be hard and challenging. And you know what? Can I just say that sometimes it is, but kids find it in fun too. Like Minecraft, when you're building worlds or in Minecraft, or I don't know, you're trying to figure something out with your Lego piece, how to make something, and it takes you a long time. That's challenge right there. It's just personal challenge instead of someone prescribing a challenge.
I mean, have you ever seen a kid climb a tree? They're not going to stop at the second branch. They're going to try to go as high as they can.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Truth. My kids probably would stop at second branch, but yours won't. Here's what we did this morning. I mean, I'll refer to a grown child. That would be, let me say that again. A grown kid who is now 52, and that would be my husband this morning. Now you know why I corrected my words. But anyways, he was trying to get a goat onto the back of a truck because we're selling a goat. And I'm like, wow, that guy, when he wants to do business, he will do business. That goat got on there. but that goat also got off like 6 times too. And he kept putting it back on there. And if we decide that something's important to us, we'll make it happen. So yeah, grown kids learn how to overcome their challenges because young kids learn how to overcome their challenges, but because they want to. Back to that conversation point about, are we motivated to do something? Are we motivated to learn? Internal motivation is so much more powerful than someone prescribing something for us. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're born with it. It's there.
Yeah.
We just have to make sure we're honoring it.
Getting out of our own way and getting out of our kids' way, I think, is the most powerful saying or adage or like way of thinking about our kids and how to lean into child-led learning. It's not so much what are you doing, what are you offering, what are you creating, what spaces are you opening up for them to do certain things, but rather how do I get out of their way so they can do their thing. Mm-hmm. The one thing that I have heard so many times that I see from a different vantage point, it is people wanting their kids to have a lifelong love of learning. And the reason I take issue with that concept is because, of course, we want that for our kids. We need to just get out of our kids' way for them to learn. And as adults, we naturally want to learn when we want to learn something. So we don't really need to foster it as much as we need to, put roadblocks in front of it.
You mean not have the roadblocks?
Like causing boredom. I think that sometimes when kids come from schooled environments to come home, they're bored and they're not motivated and they don't want to do anything. But the reason is because they've been in this prescribed system for so long, or this way of here's what you do for learning, here's how you learn, here's how we're going to test it, and all the things. They're so familiar with that environment, they don't know what to do with themselves when they're on their own. And when they have enough time to deschool or just come away from unhelpful schooled educational mindsets, they will find their thing again. They will find the thing that they love to do. So we just need to allow them to just be and pursue their own thing rather than put these roadblocks in front of them. Like, here's how you must do something. Does that make sense? Am I making sense? I just got distracted because I see my husband coming down the driveway without the goat. So the goat has found a new home. Yeah. That child-led learning aspect. Yeah.
Letting them sort of lead the way. I feel like, my biggest job is like taking them places and buying them stuff.
Sure.
Which it takes a lot of my energy. So
it does take a lot of energy.
Got to take care of myself too.
Yeah. I just had, I've had a few people ask me about putting together a self-compassion intensive before homeschool, or before the traditional year starts again, the homeschool year, which is about, I don't know where it is in your part of the world, but for us, it's mid-August to maybe beginning of September. People usually restart their homeschool years. Is that where you guys usually are? Yeah.
Before September. Here, August is like a holiday. Everyone's on holiday.
Yeah, us too. Yeah. It means we're at the lake, actually, is what it means here. But, by September, everybody's going back to school. But I was asked to put together a self-compassion intensive, which really means that I'm going to be helping moms create or incorporate how to strategies really to address your big emotions. So when we have the big emotions, what do you do with it? And how to slow yourself down so you can actually practice a pause before we react, or how to deal with overwhelm, or when we're feeling stressed, or things like that. And that was something that just came up over the last week or so. And when people are talking about homeschool curriculum, they're always talking about kids curriculum, and they're not talking about what does the homeschool mom need. And this really just came to my awareness over the past week, that this is something that people are, they're wanting because they're anticipating already the challenges that they're having in their homeschool. Oftentimes, not always. I find by the third or fourth year of homeschooling, people hit a wall and they feel like, okay, I'm done. It's too much. It's overwhelming. And so either they're going to figure out how to deal with that thing, or else they're going to put them back into school, is what I've noticed. Not everybody, just kind of not surprising either. But before we close, because I do have to close for another someone that I'm meeting at 11. But before we close, is there anything else that you would like to add about how to lean into child-led learning and how to choose curriculum for your upcoming year?
Let your child be the guide. And if things are unclear, then it's okay. Just wait. And I think you're the one who told me this. There's always time.
There is always time.
Even if you don't start your official learning until October, or November, or
the semester which we did many years. Yes. Yeah, we were traveling in September, so we did that a lot.
Yeah, or take a trip, or just do something that allows you to connect with your child, so that you can have that relationship. That's the foundation, and that's gonna allow you to really see what their interests are, and then them seeing that you are interested will solidify inside of them, okay, that's a valid thing to be interested in. My mom thinks I could pursue that, so I guess I'll go for it.
Amen. I always said this, that if my kids want to sell, little crafts at the market, if that means they're finding little soft, smooth stones and they want to hot glue googly eyes and make little, craft animals or something, and they want to sell it at a market somewhere, and that just like brings them joy, then I will help you figure out how to do that. And if you want to do, one of my girls is in ballet school, would not have thought that I'd be sending my kiddo to ballet school. And she wants to become a ballerina. She danced in the Christmas Nutcracker last December. If you want to do those kinds of things, let me help you figure out how you're going to do it, because we're living this one life. And even when our kids are 8, help them to live their lives on purpose when they're 8, and then when they're 12, and then when they're 14, and then when they're 52. And we just keep embracing life and fully living and do the lifelong learning every step of the way. Yeah. This conversation was so good, and we got to do this again. As we're speaking, I'm realizing, whoa, there's so many different points we should touch on or have conversations with publicly. But you know what? You can join us, whoever is engaging us on this video or will watch afterward. You're welcome to join us. I haven't officially put it out there on Patreon, but I'm thinking that I have an October date. That's a bit too late. August 3rd, Thursday, August 3rd, we'll meet in the Patreon support group at, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time? Something like that. You'll see that in there. Yeah, so thanks for joining us today, Anne, and beautiful conversation. So many beautiful points.
I can't wait to do it again.
Yeah, okay. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.